New details tonight as rumors swirl over the fate of White House Chief Strategist Steve Bannon. The embattled West Wing operator is reportedly increasingly at odds with President Trump's son-in-law and advisor, Jared Kushner, who is said to be souring a bit on Bannon's agenda. Earlier today, White House spokesman Sean Spicer stopped short of denying that there was a feud. Watch.
I think a lot of it is overblown, what you see in the media. There's obviously, going to be spirited debates. I think that is a healthy way for the president to get guidance and ultimately make decisions. So I understand that there's always going to be a little palace intrigue, but I think that the proportion that I've seen of palace intrigue versus policy is a little out of whack.
Joining me now, a man who knows the players well, former deputy campaign manager for Donald Trump and Fox News contributor David Bossie. David, good evening. Good to have you here.
Thanks for having me.
So as I say, you do know a lot of these players well, so you hear all this, you see it all the time on the internet and everywhere else. What do you make of it?
I think Sean was right on. I think this is a lot of ado about nothing. Look, the president has an incredible team. Steve Bannon is part of that team. Jared Kushner is part of that team. Reince Priebus is part of that team. He has an amazing group of people around him. Steve is an important part of that, no more or less than anyone else. And I think that that's the atmosphere that the president's looking for, is an important teamwork element. And I think that that's what we did during the campaign so well. Steve and Jared and many others. We had spirited debates in the room, but we were able to come together for the president's agenda and support the president, and that's their jobs today inside the White House. It is difficult. It is hard because of the fishbowl aspect of the White House. But I got to tell you, they're all in for President Trump's agenda, and President Trump's having a great 2 weeks here.
But I guess the coming together part to support the president's agenda is the part that sounds like it's gotten a little tricky, because the president himself said, either they're going to work this out or I'm going to work it out for them, meaning the two sides between Kushner and Bannon. And then the president also said in this Wall Street Journal piece, he referred to Steve Bannon as, quote, a guy who works for me, and said, quote, I'm my own strategist. And we all know that Steve Bannon's title is chief strategist. So, there's a suggestion that he doesn't like that Steve Bannon has gotten a lot of credit for some of this, sort of Trumpist or Trumpism or whatever you want to call it, mentality and the credo.
Yeah, it's interesting to see that from the outside. I got to tell you, I've known the president now for many, many years. I was there at the beginning when he first thought of running for president. Yeah. Many years ago. And he has been saying the same things for years. He said them at CPAC. He said them at our Freedom Summit series across the country in Iowa, New Hampshire, South Carolina, as he was running for president. He's been saying these same things. He's had the same agenda. And what he's saying is, I've been saying these things for a long time. The thing is, Steve Bannon has been saying these things for a long time as well, separately. They both have been saying a lot of the same things. Steve on a radio show and with Breitbart. So I think that there's a symmetry there, and that's one of the reasons why they work so well together.
Yeah. I mean, you've put your heart and your passion into a lot of these ideas as well. The America First philosophy, a nationalist, economic nationalism, deconstructing the administrative state, which we've been talking about. Do you feel that it's important for Steve Bannon to stay in the West Wing in order to see those ideas through? Do you want him to keep his job?
Well, first of all, certainly I want Steve and the president to do what's best for the administration and for the country, and I think Steve is an important part of that. But that's the president of the United States call. I mean, we all serve at the pleasure of the president, whether it was on the campaign, the transition, and now in the White House. And I don't speak for the president.
In terms of Jared Kushner, there's a lot of power, obviously, that is concentrated now in Jared Kushner and in Ivanka Trump. Is that a negative?
It's not. I mean, they're an incredible people. Jared's an incredibly smart as a whip guy. He is incredibly competent, and I've seen him work through the campaign and through the transition and now through this White House. He understands the president's agenda, and he's working towards that with the rest of the team, and I think that includes Steve Bannon.
But so much of what we're seeing now, we just talked, through the whole top of the show about China China, about Russia, about the attack in Syria, which, reportedly Steve Bannon was in the room saying, no, I don't think we should fire these Tomahawk missiles at Syria. I think it's going to get us into a mess and it's going to be tough to get out of it. We're seeing a very different, China's not a currency manipulator, we heard tonight from the president. All these ideas, and I think that a lot of people who have been very supportive of the president, perhaps in your camp, kind of don't recognize where he's coming from right now.
Well, look, I think things have changed. I think what we're going to see in coming days is that China was, as the president said during the campaign, a major currency manipulator. We think we've seen them stop those practices as he got elected, and I think now 6 months later, November to now, we're seeing reports that maybe they aren't doing it anymore out of respect for our new leader. And I think that it's President Trump's leadership that's getting them to stop that. And then look, we need to work with them on the North Korea issue, clearly. And I think that, if there are facts behind the currency manipulation issue where they are stopping it, I think that's a good thing for us to be able to work together in the future.
David, always good to talk to you. Thank you very much. Good to see you.